I am Victoria Mitchell, and this is the story of how I turned a failing Seattle marketing firm into a $200 million tech empire, only to have it ripped away on my wedding day, and how I fought back to build something even greater. Growing up in a modest Capitol Hill apartment, I was the kid who'd rather code than play outside my mom. Diane saw something in me, a spark she nurtured until cancer took her when I was 14. Her death left a hole, but her belief in me became my anchor when she married Robert Hayes, my stepfather. 4 years earlier, I gained a family I never quite fit into. Robert, a charming but stubborn entrepreneur, ran Hayes Digital, a marketing firm stuck in the 9 South. He doted on his daughter Chloe, my stepsister, who could do no wrong despite her endless string of failed ventures. Think influencer flops and half-baked Etsy shops. Me, I was the outsider, always working to prove I belonged. At 22, fresh from MIT, I came back to Seattle not for nostalgia but to save Hayes Digital. Robert's firm was bleeding cash, outdated and irrelevant. I saw a way forward, an AI-driven analytics platform I'd been coding since college, one that could predict consumer trends and optimize campaigns with precision. Nights blurred into mornings as I poured myself into that software, turning Hayes Digital from a relic into a tech powerhouse. Clients like Starbucks and Amazon signed on, and by 30, I'd made it a $200 million company. But Robert never saw me to him. I was Diane's daughter, not his. While Chloe at 28 coasted on his affection, contributing nothing but complaints. Ethan, my fiancé, a high school teacher with a steady heart, kept me grounded, reminding me to breathe when work consumed me. As our wedding approached, I dared to hope for a day free of striving, a day to celebrate love, not just survival. I should have known better. My wedding day was supposed to be a pause, a moment to savor joy with Ethan, surrounded by friends, family, and colleagues who'd watched me rebuild Hayes Digital. The Seattle waterfront venue glowed under string lights, and for once I let myself feel light too, in my ivory dress, Ethan's hand warm in mine. Then Robert stood for his toast. I braced for his usual half-hearted praise, but his words hit like a freight train. Today's not just about Victoria and Ethan, he said, glass raised, but a new chapter for Hayes Digital. I'm thrilled to name Chloe as our new CEO. The room froze, my smile locked in place, my pulse hammering. Chloe, who'd never set foot in the office, beamed beside him. Guests shifted uncomfortably, their whispers like static in my ears. I waited for Robert to backtrack, to say it was a mistake, but his smirk said otherwise. Then he crossed the room, pulled a crumpled $20 bill from his pocket, and pressed it into my hand. This is what you're worth, Victoria, he said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Chloe's laugh cut through the silence. Sharp and smug, every eye was on me. Pity, shock, curiosity. My chest burned, but I didn't crack. I folded the bill, tucked it into my clutch, and met Robert's gaze. Thank you, I said, my voice steady as steel. This means a lot. I turned to Ethan, squeezed his hand, and walked us back to our table, ignoring the weight of their stares inside. I was shattering, but I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing it. That night, as the reception faded, I knew one thing: they'd underestimated me, and they'd pay for it back home while Ethan slept. I slipped into my study, the $20 bill still in my clutch. The betrayal replayed, Robert's smirk, Chloe's laugh, the room's silence. My heart ached, not just for the company I'd built, but for the family I'd never had. Mom's voice echoed in my mind. You're enough, Victoria. I opened my laptop, hand steady, anger sharpening my focus. For years I'd protected Hayes Digital, but I'd also protected myself. Every major client, contracts, Amazon, T-Mobile was tied to me, not the company, with clauses allowing termination if I left leadership. The AI platform, the heart of our success, was mine, registered under Apex Analytics. My private company, Hayes Digital, only had a licensing agreement, one I could revoke at midnight. I drafted an email to our top 20 clients, outlining my departure and their contract termination rights. I attached the clauses, my words: precise, professional, lethal. I hit send, knowing the dominoes would fall by morning. Next, I accessed Apex Analytics servers and initiated the revocation of Hayes Digital software license years ago. I'd foreseen this possibility, not betrayal exactly, but the need to control my own work. As the clock ticked past 2 a.m., I reviewed my patents, my contracts, my team's loyalty. Robert and Chloe thought they'd won. They had no idea I'd been ready for this my whole life. By 3 a.m., my inbox pinged clients, responding, confirming terminations. I didn't smile. This wasn't about revenge, yet it was about justice. Hayes Digital was about to learn what happens when you bet against the one who built it all. At 9 a.m., I walked into Hayes Digital's downtown Seattle office, my heels clicking on the polished floor. Employees glanced up, their faces tense, already sensing the storm. My inbox was flooded. 15 of our top clients had terminated contracts overnight, citing my departure. I'd revoked Hayes Digital's license to my AI platform at dawn, cutting them off from the software that powered their success. In my hand was a tablet loaded with 3 documents: my resignation, the client termination clauses, and proof that Apex Analytics owned the AI platform. I strode into the executive boardroom where Chloe and Robert were scrambling. Chloe's perfectly curled hair was frazzled, her eyes wide as she waved her phone at me, showing an email from T-Mobile. Contract terminated. What did you do, Victoria? She demanded. I tilted my head, voice cool. Just the beginning. Robert stepped forward, his tailored suit unable to mask his unease. Victoria, let's talk this through, he said, softer than I'd ever heard him. I ignored him, tapped my tablet, and lit up the boardroom screen. My resignation letter appeared first, effective immediately. Next, the termination clauses signed by clients. Now walking away. Finally, the ownership papers for the AI platform showing Hayes Digital's license was gone. You wanted me out, I said, meeting their stunned gazes. You got it. The room was silent, their empire crumbling in real time. I turned and walked out, leaving them to face the wreckage. As I left the boardroom, Chloe chased after me, her voice shrill. You can't do this, Victoria, she shouted, her phone still clutched like a lifeline behind her. Robert followed, his usual swagger gone, replaced by a flicker of doubt. The office buzzed with whispers, employees scrolling through emails, piecing together the chaos. The CFO, Tom, pushed through the crowd, his face ashen. Robert, he said, voiced tight, we've got a problem. Investors are pulling out. Half the dev team just resigned. Without Victoria's platform, we're dead in the water. I stood still, letting the weight of his words sink in. For them, Chloe's eyes darted to me, desperate. Fix this, Victoria. You owe us. I almost laughed. Owe them, after years of building their empire, while they dismissed me after Robert's $20 insult on my wedding day. I met her gaze, my voice low but sharp. You took everything I built, and one night I just took it back. Robert tried again, his tone pleading now. Victoria, we can work this out. Your family, the word stung. Family hadn't stopped him from betraying me. I thought of Mom, her quiet strength, and felt a calm settle over me. You made your choice, I said, turning away. Now, live with it. As I walked toward the elevator, I heard Chloe's sharp intake of breath. Robert's stunned silence. The glass doors closed behind me, and for the first time, I felt free. By noon, Seattle's tech scene was ablaze with news of Hayes Digital's collapse. Headlines screamed, Hey Digital loses major clients overnight. AI platform dispute cripples tech firm. Their stock tanked, and social media buzzed with speculation. I didn't linger on it. I was in my new office, a sleek space in Pioneer Square, launching Apex Analytics. My core team, developers, engineers, and a few executives who'd followed me from Hayes Digital, were already at work, setting up servers and signing contracts. Starbucks and Amazon, loyal to me, not the Hayes name, had already inked deals with Apex. By 2 p.m. we'd secured $50 million in new contracts, a third of Hayes Digital's former portfolio. I sipped coffee, watching Hayes Digital stock ticker plummet on my monitor. It wasn't joy. I felt more like clarity. Years of fighting for Robert's approval, of carrying Chloe's dead weight, had taught me one thing: my worth wasn't tied to their validation. Ethan called, his voice warm but worried. You okay, Victoria? I smiled, picturing his kind eyes. Better than okay. Apex Analytics wasn't just a company, it was mine, built on my terms. As my team celebrated our first day, I glanced at the $20 bill on my desk, a reminder of what I'd overcome. Hayes Digital was burning, but I was building something stronger, and the world was starting to notice. 2 days later, Chloe texted, Victoria, please meet me, one conversation. I stared at the message, her desperation almost comical. After years of her smug dismissal, I agreed, not out of pity but curiosity. We met at a quiet Belltown cafe, far from the tech crowd. Chloe looked different, no designer clothes, just jeans and a plain sweater. Her tired eyes sat across from her, sipping tea Waiting, I didn't know, she started, voice shaky about the contracts, the software, any of it. Dad thought you'd stay. I raised an eyebrow. Silent, she pushed on. Hayes Digital. Collapsing, investors are gone. The software's useless without you. Dad's a mess. We need you back, Victoria. Her words stirred memories. Mom's funeral, where Chloe ignored me. Family dinners where Robert praised her failed ideas while I sat invisible. I leaned forward on my wedding day when Dad gave you my company and handed me $20. Did you think it was wrong? She flinched, eyes dropping. I didn't think, she mumbled. I nodded, unsurprised. Exactly, you took everything I built and laughed. Why should I save you now? Her face crumpled, tears welling. Please, Victoria, for family. The word felt hollow. I stood grabbing my bag. You wanted to be CEO, Chloe. Figure it out. Walking away, I didn't feel anger or triumph, just nothing. Mom's voice whispered I was enough, and for the first time I believed it. Over the next 2 weeks, Hayes Digital unraveled like a cheap sweater. Investors fled, employees quit in droves, and their attempt at a new software platform flopped. Clunky, outdated, nothing like my AI. The board voted Robert out as chairman. Chloe resigned as CEO. Days later, by month's end, Hayes Digital filed for bankruptcy, its name reduced to a cautionary tale in tech blogs. Meanwhile, Apex Analytics soared. We signed deals with Nike and Microsoft, pushing our valuation to $600 million in 3 months. My team, loyal coders and strategists who'd believed in me, worked with a fire I'd never seen at Hayes Digital. Seattle's tech scene crowned me a visionary, but I didn't care about the headlines. I cared about building something real, Ethan. And I hosted a small dinner for the team at our Queen Anne home, laughter filling the air. Later, alone, I sat with a glass of wine, staring at the city skyline. I thought of Mom, how she'd read me bedtime stories about dreamers who built their own worlds. I'd done that, not for Robert, not for Chloe, but for me. The pain of their betrayal still lingered, a faint scar, but it no longer defined me. Apex wasn't just a company, it was proof I didn't need their approval to shine. As I set my glass down, my phone buzzed. Another article, Victoria Mitchell Reediff's Seattle Tech. I smiled, then turned it off. The future was mine. A month later, I got an email from the University of Washington's tech program, inviting me to be the keynote speaker at their Innovation Summit. The theme, overlooked innovators. The irony wasn't lost on me. Chloe had once been their darling, her brief college stint hyped as future CEO material. Now, they wanted my story. I accepted, feeling Mom's pride in my bones. The auditorium was packed with students, their faces a mix of ambition and nerves, just like mine at their age. Standing at the podium, I didn't sugarcoat it. I told them about coding through nights to save Hayes Digital, about Robert's betrayal, about the $20 bill that burned in my pocket. I shared how I walked away, built Apex Analytics, and turned loss into triumph. When you're underestimated, I said, use it, let it fuel you, not break you. Their eyes locked on mine, some nodding, others scribbling notes. A student asked, what kept you going? I paused, thinking of Mom's hand on mine, her voice saying, I was enough, believing in myself when no one else did. I answered, and letting go of the need to prove it to the wrong people. After a young coder approached, shy but determined, your story is mine, she said. I'm going to keep going. I smiled, handing her my card. Driving home, I felt lighter. I wasn't just telling my story, I was lighting a path for others, the way Mom had for me. One quiet evening, a letter arrived from Robert. His handwriting, once bold, looked shaky on the envelope. I didn't open it. Instead, I tucked it into a drawer with the $20 bill from my wedding day. For months, that bill had been a wound, a reminder of betrayal. Now, it was just paper. I pulled out my scrapbook filled with photos of my journey, my first laptop, the Hayes Digital office I'd saved, the Apex Analytics launch party. I smoothed the $20 bill and slipped it into a sleeve beside a picture of me and Ethan smiling on our first date. It wasn't about anger anymore, it was about remembering where I'd started and how far I'd come. Sitting with Ethan on our couch, the Seattle skyline twinkling outside, I felt peace. I'd built Apex Analytics into a $600 million empire, not to prove Robert wrong, but to prove Mom right. Her belief in me had carried me through the darkest nights, through betrayal, through doubt, through the weight of being unseen. Now I stood taller, not because I'd won, but because I'd let go. The letter, the bill, the past. They didn't own me, my future did. To everyone who's followed My story, thank you. You've walked with me through betrayal, battles, and breakthroughs. If my journey moved, you hit subscribe and join us at Revenge Ties, where every line of code tells a story of grit, heart, and new beginnings. Keep building your own path, and I'll see you at the